Tiene la pócima para enloquecerme, pero voy a rondarla. Que yo ya sé que es de ti. I got to stay away, got to stay away. Sé que como un trofeo.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Test. 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 Sweet. We are in. We are in here. We are in. I'm still getting everything adjusted, but welcome to the first live stream editing session, man. We'll let people come in, but the first live stream of 2024. Welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy. We are gonna do some edit. We're gonna do some photo editing. I think majority of this live stream is gonna be photo editing, and occasionally seeing how it goes. That's when I'll also integrate like other video editing, other things. But I wanted to test it out. I wanted to try this out. I wanted to see how kind of editing your photos goes live. No cuts, no polished YouTube video at all. Yeah, I mean, just as raw as it gets, just with straight vibes. And we'll go from there, kind of thing. So if the stream is janky a bit, this is my first one. This is like a test run kind of thing. So if stuff shits the bed, if the camera loses itself, if I don't know, something doesn't work out, we'll fix it eventually, but the first one's not going to be perfect. So it's going to take a little bit. I just set it up. I set everything up. Hopefully it stays this way. Hopefully in the beginning when I started the stream, I didn't show too much. But yeah, we're going to see how it goes. So if you were here, or if you've seen the video, the first rendition of Fix It in Post, I believe. Was it Fix It? Yes, it was Fix It in Post. It was after the Moody Landscapes video. I did the first Fix It in Post. No, it wasn't. The Moody Landscape was the first Fix It in Post of that series. I did the ChatGPT. That's it. So I did the ChatGPT kind of whole thing, the ChatGPT to edit your photos. That's what it was. The first session of editing your photos was with ChatGPT, and there was still a lot of you that sent it in, and then there was still quite a bit still left over that I didn't get to in that video. That was saving for maybe a second video, third video later on in that series. But with like this kind of rendition, I was testing it out. That's why I wanted to spice it up. The first one to be with like ChatGPT, but after a while, it's hard to build a compelling video editing photos into like a really good length kind of thing. I just didn't find it. After a while, I just couldn't find it interesting. So I was like, let's do it live. Maybe we'll do it live. So yeah, so this is the second set of photos we're going to be tackling today. And instead of a polished video with all those cuts, we are going to just go at it live. So this is still, some of these have been sent in from last time that were leftovers from last time, or also just photos that I've been meaning to edit. So it's a mixture of both. And moving forward and further down longer like live streams and everything like that, we will, I'll put up like in the community kind of section of my channel, I'll put up like a link of a folder where you can send in your photos as well for me to edit during these live streams. And yeah, hopefully you learn something through me editing. Hopefully maybe you'll get a dope picture edited out of it, you know, because I usually charge for things like this, but for y'all, I'm not going to charge y'all. I might start, but we'll keep it going. So yeah, let's give it a minute for a little bit more people to pile in. I know this is a last minute kind of thing, but I want to test it out as soon as possible to see how it goes, how it flows, how all this stuff kind of works. This is really just all a test, and if it shits the fan, it shits the fan. All I can say, there's not much I can do about it. I just gotta get better as we go. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And I don't know if the music I was playing was really like, I'm not gonna get docked for it in this live stream, but I might play it just a little bit in the end, and then like lower the volume, of course. But I don't know if it picks and chooses if I talk or the music that's coming out of the Mac. I really hope not. This might be really annoying, but I might have to test this out. And see. But yeah, because it's like quiet, and I want, like, I always edit with some music in the background, so I'm gonna test it out. Don't look at anything you don't need to look at. Okay. Lower it. Now, is that, how does that, my fault, I'm gonna keep this away from the mic. Okay, that was loud. Sweet. All right, bet. We can hear both of them. We can hear myself and the music. Bet. Sweet. I'm learning. I am learning. I am a guru. It's blasting in my ear though. I'm learning though. All right, don't mind the tabs. Do not mind the tabs. Please do not mind the tabs. Sweet. Is this just myself? Bet. So we're starting with these photos. That is what we're editing throughout the stream, and I'm editing them in Lightroom. That was my main form. Well, my process consists of basically Lightroom and Photoshop. That I start with Lightroom always and then go to Photoshop. We got royalty in the chat, man. I wish I had a soundboard, but if I did, this is a soundboard for make some noise for little MP. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know how delayed, bro. I don't know how delayed these messages are to when you send them, so I apologize. I'm trying to stream all with just one computer. So my one Mac, I got everything on top. But yeah. So I was like, so my editing kind of thing. Is the music too loud? No, it's not too loud. But how does this sound? Does this sound clean? Is the music too loud? I have no idea. It's booming in my ear though. But word. So yeah, so these photos are leftovers from the last set, and basically my process, how I work when it comes to photo editing, I always start in Lightroom and then do final touches or final kind of edits or effects or stuff like that in Photoshop. But like if I'm gonna do like a real type of effect on it, type of thing. But if I don't, then Lightroom has gotten so advanced that like sometimes I don't even need to go to Photoshop anymore, but that's usually my workflow. And going through the photos, these are all the photos that we're going to be attacking tonight for the stream. This one, a little cityscape, a little landscape, beautiful photo. This one, go through each one. Really cool photos. Some people sent them in. Some people, some I've just had that I've been meaning to edit. So I know this was before I did another kind of. I did another thing. So like only one of them or like a couple of them are labeled. So this one's from Dre Da Silva, the 8th one. This one's from Dan. This one's from Philippe Perkison. Sniper, Gabe. This one just says Raw Ryan and H Ploakun. But yeah, so we're starting out with this really like kind of antique type of Mercedes. And whenever I start out with like photos, I always kind of, if I don't know what route I'm going to head down, that's when I go over here in this tab. And these are all, if you don't know what these are what are called like presets, right? So presets, essentially, they're like starting points. They're like pre-made starting points where you can begin a photo at. So these were already pre-made. If I made them, if I bought them, a lot of photographers, if they do anything to photos, the one thing they do is slap a preset on it. I don't know if you've seen it when it comes to Lightroom, but as basic as it might be, it's just honestly a starting point. That's all it is. To see what colors might work, what certain colors might work for a photo and things like that. So if I don't know what I'm going to do with the photo, that's when I kind of go to my preset kind of all here, because I have a lot. So I've accumulated these presets from the 7 years I've been doing photography. And to be honest, that's what you kind of accumulate over time. Some I bought, a majority of them I bought, a majority of them I made. And as the more photos you edit, the more you accumulate with those presets. So if there's a big secret, photography secret that people kind of gatekeep and stuff like that, is sometimes is mainly just the presets. And then people sell the same type of presets for whatever the price. And that's a little bit of like the market behind photography, right? But yeah, for this one, for the vintage cars, I know ultimately the car is the star. So I don't want to do too much. And because I love the red color and I love like the sharpness of this photo, my main focus is going to be the wheel. I mean, of course, it's the only thing in focus, but I want to bring this wheel out, the symbol out the most. I kind of know what I want to do with it. Then with antique cars, you can take it like, of course, the black and white route. You can make it like washed out. That's a really cool thing to do as well. Or like really grungy and really HDR. That works well with cars as well. But for my personal style, and for this particular car, the red tone looks really, really good. I did like a little bit of a bluer, cooler tone. I wanted to see. I saw these two the most. The Cool Bliss. I think this preset it's a little bit just too washed. This is just a little too blue, but I love this vibe because the car is red and because no, I think this is a good starting point for this car because of the red contracting with the blue. It's a little bit too blue in my opinion. So, but for the preset, that's where I like to start, right? And now you usually go over here into like the basics tab. That's usually the one I go first. If you want to, you can always do kind of the lens correction. But sometimes if you don't know what it's really shot at, I mean, this one, it's giving a guess. It's pretty accurate most of the time, but since because this is like a downloaded photo from someone you sent that's got it sent in, depending on if it kind of goes or kind of gets all the data as it's transferred, sometimes it's off. So I like to start in the basic kind of panel. I do want to bring out the wheel more, so I'm going to keep the contrast low. I think a little bit, turn up the brightness a bit because it's a little bit dark, and the highlights, just bring them down just a tad bit. The shadows are up, but I just want just a tiny bit lower. The temperature, just a little bit, because I don't want it to be too blue. I don't know, I just don't really like overly kind of stylized a little bit. That's just not my style. I love colors, but like not two-toned. Two-toned, specifically, that's where I kind of like to tweak it just a bit. So for clarity, for car photos, clarity right here, this tab works very well. For portraits, on the other hand, we'll talk about it later. For clarity, it's a little, you don't want it, I keep clarity in the negatives when it comes to portraits, but for architecture and for cars, the clarity works out very well. So I love to bring it out just a little bit. You don't have to overdo it, because if you overdo it, this is what happens to the photo, which still works if that's what you're going for. But for me, I think around like 15, 20 kind of thing works well with it. Then the dehaze, I like to play around with it just a little bit to see where it kind of falls under. And after kind of this panel, then I just tweak over the whites and the blacks a little bit more. But the photo itself was taken pretty even. It was taken pretty well. It was exposed exposed correctly, but there doesn't need too much tweaks in kind of the regular settings. YouTube. Yeah, so there wasn't too much tweaks when it comes to like the overall exposure of the photo, because it was already taken pretty well. I think it was lit pretty well. The highlights is going to be reflected in like the outside of the cars and that kind of thing, so you don't have to, well, I don't necessarily need to change up that as much. The vibrance, on the other hand, I want to bring the vibrance and the saturation up a little bit more to bring that red out. To really bring that red out, because I feel like that's one of the biggest highlights for me, is kind of the red exterior and opposing it to like the interior. That's really what I would focus on when it comes to like the way this photo was shot. And then you come down to like the tonal curve kind of thing, and the tonal curve is just an extra kind of layer to like the exposure, and through it, again, it's like that extra layer if you want to tweak with it. This, I don't think this was taken on an iPhone. No, this was taken on the camera. I'm pretty sure this was taken on the camera because it was sent in as a DSC So that's usually a camera. And when it's not, an iPhone has, it would probably say iPhone, or there's a certain kind of file format, but no, this is taken on a camera most likely. I don't know what type, I don't know what kind, but it says a 50 millimeter 2.5. I don't know how accurate that data is, because this was sent in by one of the subscribers, but it's most likely taken by a camera. I don't think iPhone took this. So just a little bit. All right, bet. For the majority of this photo, because it doesn't need too much work when it comes to like its overall exposure, the majority of the work is going to be done in the colors panel. That's usually what majority of my work even consists of, is toying around with the colors, and through the colors and stuff like that, that's how you really edit a photo, in my opinion. Yes, correcting its exposure, correcting its light is just one end of like the overall triangle, but working with the colors really is what makes the difference, and stuff like that. This EDM is blasting in my ear, bro. I can't. I can't. So yeah, I'm just like trying to talk, and this thing is like blasting in my ear. What's it called? But yeah, since the overall colors, tones, and you see green, reds, and blues, that is what we're going to be working with. The overall blues, I want to take down just a little bit. I don't want it overly blue, because then it's just not natural. The car, if you see from like the reference photo, the car is black itself. I like a little bit of blue because you can play around with like the color black a lot. But sometimes black just looks non-saturated, and I like to give it a little bit of like color, because of the highlights. Sometimes the highlights, the time of day works into the photo, and you can stylize it a bit. Well, I like to stylize it a bit like that. Sometimes black, I do like it, but just a dash of a little bit of color. Because black sometimes, most of the time, black in photos will come out a little bit bluish. But playing onto like the red, I really like kind of the texture it brings out in the interior of the car and stuff like that. But yeah. But for the green, it's saying green's being picked up. The green's being picked up on like the radio and stuff. We'll just turn that up. It doesn't have to. What about the yellow? Yellow in the dash kind of thing. And then the red. The red, all I kind of want to do to it, bring it down just a little bit, bring up the saturation a lot more. And then, of course, the orange as well tweaks in. I like it when it's up. I want to put the orange a little bit more red, not a lot, because it just doesn't look right. I love that this is also red. I don't know what that is exactly. Is that a shirt? Oh, that's a person. I didn't even see that before. I was focused. The way my kind of... Okay, now that I see that, I'm a little bit distracted. I'll show you what I do to reshift kind of focus afterwards, but I want to get these colors just a little... I want to get these colors right. That's usually my main focus most of the time. I am going to play around with it. And then the color grading tab is also a great tab. It focuses in on like midtones, shadows, highlights, and it's like the same way the tone curve kind of panel is like an extra layer to like the basic controls for exposure. This is like another extra layer when it comes to kind of colors and things like that. Color grading, of course, what it says in it. I think for the midtones, I do like I'm just playing around with, I don't like too much in the midtones, so Command Z. The shadows are what's got the blue. I want to shift those just a tiny bit off. Yeah, so like barely like coming in with that blue, right? That blue is just like barely glimpsing in to that. And then for the highlights, it's just a little bit of tealish. I love the green on that. I really like that. And then I would love to lower it just a bit to not have it look washed. And then raise the highlights a bit more. Cool. So for detail, so for detail, I love to bring up the detail a bit because you want to see as much detail as possible to that wheel and to anything else that it kind of catches in the exterior. One huge thing, there's a lot of good things. I'm going to make a video on like Lightroom and all its like new features that it has and stuff like that. But one like game changer that they added in Lightroom is this noise reduction kind of denoise feature. So say you had like a grainy photo. This one's not too grainy, and I don't know how well this example would be for this photo, but maybe on later in the end with some other photos that we kind of touch on, maybe I'll have some grain and I'll test it out. But one click, it can get rid and smooth your photo that's like noisy, that's shot at a high ISO. And it's like a game changer. So it doesn't matter if like say you mess up a shot, say it's too grainy, you didn't have an external flash, you didn't expose it correctly, and you get home after a shoot and it's way too grainy. The noise reduction, this like little button right here will fix your photo. But yeah, this one's not grainy at all, so I don't think it's gonna do much. But overall, the detail of this, the sharpening might be a little too much. I might bring down, 70 is a lot. I might bring down to 50. The 50 is still pretty high, but overall, when it comes to like architecture, cars, food, weather, food, I say landscapes, sharpening more things works very well in my opinion, and that is when I usually like to keep things sharp. One thing, so how I'm gonna shift kind of the overall, this is one of the biggest parts, away from the color, the overall kind of shifting that I like to do is shifting like focus and like refocus and cropping your focus into what I want to. Ed 14K in the chat. I look over it, it's Ed, mid thought. If I had a soundboard, I would hit it right now, man. But I don't, and I'm still new to reading the chat. It's over here, so I need to look more at the chat. But I was saying, I like to, apart from the color, I really like to focus kind of your focus when it comes to the photo and things like that. And when it comes to the photo, the one way that I love to do it is playing around with vignetting. For this one in particular, that is what I kind of want to do. I want to bring your attention just to the wheel. So with vignetting, it's like that black kind of dot, right? But so of course you want to keep it round, feathered. I'm kind of shifting your focus because you know how up there, that red shirt, now that I've noticed it, it's really kind of it's really kind of like shifting your focus. And I want your focus to be, yes, to see the glimpse of reds, but to really focus in on like that symbol in the middle. So for now, that vignetting right here is perfect. And now we want to get into kind of masking. Masking is another kind of little saucy feature that they've added to, you see. So I click basically mask and mask out the subject, and it got it pretty much right. That's kind of what I want to be in anyways, apart from maybe not this. That is not, bro. This ain't my. This ain't this ain't my picture. So this picture was sent in from the last bit of editing. It's one of my subscribers sent this in. Nah, but yeah. So right now, when I really like, yeah, this ain't my picture. This ain't my card. This ain't my picture. But to kind of reiterate, these sets are, a couple of them are from my subscribers from last videos that I didn't get to. It was made for editing them in episode 2. And then some I just been meaning to edit for a while that I've had to like practice on and stuff like that. But yeah. So with masking is like that extra kind of sauce when it comes to photos, because it's basically all you want to do. You're able to just focus in on certain elements of the photo separately, the way you would do on Photoshop, where it's like pancake layers. That's what makes Photoshop like really confusing for people, because there's just so many layers that you can stack on top of each other that you kind of lose track. This is kind of the same thing. So my mask one it's not the most perfect, but I can go in and like tweak it, which I'm going to do right now. Because I just want the wheel for this mask specifically. So I'm going to kind of take the brush tool and kind of subtract away from it, from where I don't want it. I kind of don't want it anywhere on the radio. The radio's fine. I can be a lot more precise with this, like really get in there, really zoom in and tweak it all out. But pretty much I know, I can see where the mask is kind of taking it from. This mirror is cool, but I don't want it right now. I might do something with it later. Does it get in the hood? It is getting in the hood. All I'm doing right now is just erasing where I don't want the mask to leak out of. Bro, you know masking, you know all this, bro. I know you're a photographer. I know you're an editor. You've been going ham on CapCut. It's the same thing. They got masking on CapCut. But yeah, just envision masking are just like different layers that you can tweak with. And here is like, I feel like this makes the most sense because they bring in like a paintbrush. So anything you paint, that's what you kind of focus in on. They just make it a lot easier, in my opinion, when it comes to Lightroom. And this is new. They didn't have masking before. In Lightroom, you had to do this like manually. Like they did have brushes, but you had to create like multiple brushes yourself. You had to do it all by yourself. Like that's why people like Photoshop a lot, because you didn't have to do all that in Photoshop. It kind of, the software did it for you. But now Lightroom is kind of catching up. They're really trying to catch up, which is crazy because they're the same brand. But I guess they want to be a little bit different because they're like, we got Photoshop already. But I'm glad they're catching up, because I just envision doing this on my 2015 little MacBook with my little pad, and I'm like in there like with my little finger just like painting the little stuff that I want, and it could be like something small. This ain't my car, big dog. I wish. I would love an antique kind of Mercedes. I got a Benz, not this type though. Yeah. But yeah, so essentially I can make this like a lot better, of course, go in there and tweak all the way. But for a basic kind of thing, that's all I really want, to just kind of bring out that symbol anyways, and bring out the wheel just a little bit. I just want to take out kind of the background from this. I am also sorry that if this is laggy. I have so much stuff running off of this one thing, so if it's laggy, I'll fix it next stream. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So the first mask, or maybe the only mask I'm gonna be doing, I might do another mask just to get rid of that red shirt just a little bit more. Oh no, I'll show you what you can do with this type of mask once I'm done with it. Once I'm done with it, you can, it's pretty cool, and you can save so much time where you just didn't have that before. But after you're done with the mask, right, this last part, and then so first let's bring out this mask just a little bit. So what I want to do is really bring it out, that that symbol and that wheel. That's basically the highlight for me. I mean, that's the only thing in focus primarily in this photo. So that's what I want to bring out. Bring it out a little bit more. Bring the blacks in back just a bit. Bring out the whites. No, I was saying like the Lightroom, like what I'm seeing, like what I'm doing in Lightroom. To me, it might be seeming like it lagging, but if it's not lagging, then that's dope. But yeah, that's all I wanted to do. Bring it out just a little bit, bring up the shadows, just so that little symbol can gleam a bit, man. I want to see that thing shine. All right, and now look. So you would think I would have to do a whole other mask to control the background, but a simple little thing, right? A simple little thing as this duplicate. There's a little option right here that says duplicate and invert mask. That's exactly what I want. So now everything but the wheel has been selected. I know it's rough. There's some parts of the wheel that's selected too, but bear with me. I don't want it to be perfect anyways, and if it's not that perfect, then it seems like it's more intentional. So now everything in the background is being controlled, and I want to dim it down just a little bit just to bring out that wheel even more. And that is what I really want to tweak out about it. Not too much, because I do like the red. Just a bit, right? Even a small bit is able to like shift your focus primarily to that wheel. And that way too, I can also control just like the colors, just like the overall temperature of just the mask that I've selected. But I do like where it's at. Maybe just a tad bit warmer. The tint a bit to like the greener side. I do love the saturation a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. I am liking that a lot. So exactly how it shifted its focus. If I turn off the mask, it's a lot more just brighter, which is not bad, but for this photo particularly, I want to remain the focus to this wheel, and it in my opinion, it shifts it dramatically when it comes to it. You know what's crazy? I took photography 1 and photography 2 in college, and I was way too advanced for both of them. But in photography 1, the whole semester, the professor that was teaching, I don't know how he was teaching it, right? But I already knew what I was doing. He was teaching like Lightroom and Photoshop and stuff like that. I already knew what I was doing, so I didn't really follow along. We get to like the last 2 weeks, and I remember this guy sitting next to me. We had like a final project and stuff like that. And he turns on, it's like the last few weeks of the semester. He turns to me and he's like, bro, do you know how to use this program? I'm sitting there like, bro, you don't know how to use this? I explained it to him in like 15 minutes, what he tried to explain in like the whole semester. And this man got it, and he was editing by the end of that class. So it's not hard. It just depends on how they teach it, but yeah. So after that, after mask 1 and mask 2, I pretty much like this photo, how it is. The last thing that I like to do is this calibration section down here. It is just a tiny bit too dark, so I might go back and tweak the highlights just a little bit. But now look, as I'm tweaking it, there's already masks on top of the photo. So it's getting tweaked as if also it's affecting those masks. So the background's a lot darker than the wheel itself. So if I shift like the colors, they're going to be at two different like levels and two different points, where if I adjust one, it's not adjusting everything equally. That's why I always like to make final tweaks after the masks are made. But this calibration section, and this is all Lightroom is. The left side is like your presets. The right side is all the panels where you can tweak stuff. And then after that, you're done basically in Lightroom. That's basically it. This is the whole thing when it comes to Lightroom. Yes, they have like stuff to map stuff out, to book stuff, to slideshow. But this most simplest thing in Lightroom is to import your photos within the library and then the develop tab. And then this is it. Pretty much this is it. And I'll show you how I export after we finish them. But yeah, this is pretty much it. It's not overly complicated. And the way when I first started kind of editing photos, I really was just going down each panel and then playing around with stuff, seeing what I like. And sometimes I still do that because sometimes I don't know where I want to take a photo at all. I could take a photo, take it wrong, as in like it's overexposed, but then I could save it here in Lightroom and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not too hard. But the final thing that I really, really like to do, take a sip of my seltzer and then do the calibration tab. The calibration tab, sometimes I tweak it in the beginning, sometimes I'll leave it for the end, because it's also another way to kind of play around with the colors. It doesn't do a huge shift, but it does enough. So like if I bring it all the way here, which I like a lot, you see, but not too much. But if I leave it here, it's a little bit more cooler. But I do like a little bit of like the redder tones. Yeah, I like it there. And then the reds, if I bring up the saturation, it brings out even a little bit more. Exactly what I want. You can tweak how you want the reds to look. This is not natural. Run it back to where it was. And then the greens should affect kind of the car interior a little bit. But it was pretty good where it was. And then the blue primary, it is here. Yeah, hell no, I'm never working at that school, bro. Unless they fire one of those art professors, then maybe I'll take his job. Me and that art professor had beef. But yeah. So the last thing I want to do that is really, really bugging me out, I want to add one more mask. This linear, what's it called? Linear gradient. I almost said lenient. I really want to kill the saturation of that shirt. It's bothering me. That shirt is like a distraction in my opinion. So I added one there. Yeah, that's still not even enough. It did enough, but I would like it to be a lot less red. I'm sorry, damn. I feel like that's enough. That's enough to get away from kind of it being a distraction. I want to open it up just a little bit though, just so it doesn't leak into anything else. But yeah, and then also I may lower the exposure just a bit. Not too much. Too much. Bring the whites out so at least the mirror is still there. But yeah, I think I'm happy with that photo wherever it ended. That's pretty much all I want to do to this photo. So You didn't give me a name. This is someone who sent it in, DSC. I don't know if that's your name. I apologize if that is. I don't know if that is your real name, but this is where your photo was in the beginning, and this is where we ended up with before and after. See, not too much tweaking, not too much kind of done to it. Yes, it was enhanced a bit because of the blacks have a little bit more of a blue to it. But in my opinion, when it comes to kind of working and developing a photo, I love to play around with the colors and get it to a place where it feels like I kind of constructed everything, right? Because there's nothing wrong with just keeping it natural as well. This is just my direction where I want to head down. This is also me doing it live. So maybe if I go at it again, it might be different, but yeah. So I promise all the photos aren't going to take this long, but that's just like an overall kind of thing to the process. And if you see DSC, I don't think that's your name, but if you see this photo later on, if you watch the live stream, your photo got edited, boom. I'll make another like Google Drive folder to put the edited photos in, and if you want it, you can have it. If not, then yeah. I mean, that's pretty much half of the stuff I be doing, bro. I bring in light, I bring in colors where I don't need it to be, where it hasn't been. And yeah, you ended up with the end photo. You see some crazy edits I've done from before and after. Sweet. This is another photo. I believe this one was also sent in. It was cool that you caught birds. I don't know what type of birds these were. I cannot tell what type of bird that is. I don't even know I couldn't even tell where you are based on like that bird species. Does anyone know what this bird is? I have no idea what type of bird it is, but I'm not gonna guess. It's not a seal. It's definitely not a seal. All right, whatever. Because the main colors is basically, you can see it in the histogram up here. Main colors is just blue and green. You can go one of two ways when it comes to a blue and green kind of photo. A lot of stuff I've been doing the recent, I want to say like 2 to 3 years. A lot of my photos have been like desaturating and muting the blues. Is it really? Is that what the bird is called? Albatross? Albatross? Oh, I would have believed you. I would have think it was it. But recently, a lot of my photos that I've been doing has been desaturating the blues, and my inspiration for that came from kind of Peter McKinnon. He be doing that a lot. And a couple of my favorite packs that I have for presets consist of that. There's a certain preset Ember that kind of really mutes the blues. See, you can go this route. Let me cook. Trust me. Don't worry. It will get somewhere. This is just a starting point, right? This is just a preset. You could go this route and really desaturate the blues. That really shifts the focus when it comes to where you are, what you're looking at, and things like that. Or, not black and white. Or you can go this route. Really play around with the blues and like bring it out a lot more. For this photo, looking through kind of the blues, I really love taking photos of clouds. Some of my favorite photos are when I've taken the clouds. But I think it's interesting. It's not interesting enough for me to kind of go the black and white route. I really think kind of just the overall like blue skies is the way to go for this one, but not just regular blue. I think like a film kind of look for it. Is the way I would personally head down. And of course you can go like just traditional black and white. Traditional black and white also looks great. But this might be one where there's a couple here that I want to also bring into Photoshop, but this might be one that we bring into Photoshop as well. I really like this simple kind of overly. This is pretty good too, like more of a washed out blue to bring out those. I think I'm gonna start here and see what I want to do with the blues after we start here. Because this one at least brings out the birds a lot more. And I feel like they're of course, they're a prominent figure into this photo. Because they are, I want to tweak out, start out with a washed out blue and see what we can do to bring out the birds and then play around with the kind of the overall blue. I think tweaking the exposure, I mean, I always just start doing this. See, I like that. I think a little bit more contrast. Bring out the highlights. No, the whites will look. Yep. The whites here are being picked up more than the highlights. The blacks, lower them a bit to have separation between each one. See, when it's clarity, it makes it a lot softer. So this is the softest it can actually get, and this is like the hardest it can get. I think for this photo, soft works very well. I like to keep it, when I do like to go like soft clarity, I like to keep it around -15 to like maybe -25. I don't usually go above that. And with after that, play around with the enhancer. Dehaze, not the enhancer. The enhancer is a whole different process, a whole different thing. But it's really. Do I want to say? Yes. I want to bring out the blues still a bit. I want to bring out the color in the blues, but watch this. When I go to the color mixer, I want to bring down the luminance of it. If I bring down the saturation just a little bit. All right. So I'm tweaking basically all of them. I see that orange is being picked up on the birds, orange and red, so I want to bring those out a lot more. Sweet. So I want to go now. I kind of want to tweak around with the color grade, see if we can get more out of the sky. Yes, not that much, but the deep richness of the blues in the mid-tone, bring them out just a bit, lighten them up just a bit, or darken them. So we'll lighten them up a bit. Not too much shadows. The shadows, I think, keep as is, in my personal opinion, because it bleeds into the birds a little bit too much that I don't want. I want to lower them just a little bit. What about the highlights? The highlights of each, yeah, I think I'm going to just do like a splash of just orange-ish, just to get on the clouds a bit, but I want to bring that up just a little bit for sure. Sweet. So, I mean, there's not much to this photo. The most I want to do, the subjects, see if it masks out the birds in particular. That's pretty much what I want to do. Yes, it did. See how good the software is getting. It automatically just connects those birds. I want to bring them out just a bit for sure. Raise exposure. I know this ain't the most compelling thing, but when it comes to like small details in a photo like this, that is what you need to tweak the most. And right now, yes, the birds are the main subjects of this photo. So I want to duplicate and invert the mask to focus on the sky as well, to see if there's any way I can tweak it to lower it a bit. Not much, but it's a good amount. And then I think the only other thing I would like to add to this, just not even like a huge, just a minor kind of vignetting. Like very, very small. And I might even change this to color priority. Yep, exactly. So for this photo, not much to tweak. It like from this photo to that photo, these are sometimes I don't like to overdo it, but I still love where I took it, because you see in the before, maybe you didn't realize or you didn't even pick up in before. It's purple. So there's a purple tint to it, and we just made it, in my opinion, more natural to the eye. I'm about to sneeze. Damn. More natural to the eye, more natural to like the overall photo. So not a lot of tweaking went into it. I might even just do one more thing. Now I'm just looking at before and after. I may just do kind of bring out the clouds just a bit more. So we'll go back over here. Maybe bring out the whites. And then the highlights. Yep. Sweet. So yeah, so I'm happy with that. So another one, no name, but I hope you like what we've done with it, and it will be up in next. The next one is going to be a portrait finally. I love portraits. The majority of my work is portraits. And this one's a sick portrait. I wish I knew the name. It just says IMG. So I'm sorry if this is your picture that you sent in, but I have no idea what the name is. So yeah, so with portraits, I think my go-to kind of presets when it comes to portraits are these ones. I call them SP1, 2, 3. And they don't do a lot to the photo. Like if you see it before or after, it's not a lot of change when it goes to it, but it adds a certain look to it. Like if you wanted to go completely extreme, this is a little bit too extreme for this photo in my opinion, because it toys with the colors that I like that are working very well in the photos. But if you wanted to take it black and white too, you're able to. But because I really like the natural tint of the bathroom and the light in this photo, I kind of just want to bring that out a little bit more. So I think I want to keep it in this kind of realm. I already know, I've done so many portraits that I already know like where to go, what I like when it comes to just overall style, how I want something to look and things like that. So when it comes to this portrait in particular, I think SP3 is one of my favorites. And yeah, I think this is where we're going to start with it. I also have like this type of thing, and I really like I will try it at the end to see which one I would like the most if I'm going to include it. But that's a little sneak peek to the end. I always leave that for the end to see if I like it or not. So basic kind of tweaking here and there. The overall exposure is pretty good. It's just a little bit blown out, a tiny bit, not a lot. The highlights are just a little bit blown out, so I might want to reel that in just a tad bit. Yeah, the bird one was a quick hookup. We didn't do much to the bird one, but we made it seem more natural. This one also, because I like the way it was shot, not much needed to be tweaked. I just wanted to enhance kind of the overall look of it. So I like the colors of the bathroom and the overall light. And this is kind of the starting point we're going to start at. And I want to enhance it just a little bit more. So the whites, I like to keep the whites a little bit brighter. Once the highlights are lower already or a little bit more controlled to give it like that balance between light and dark. And enhancing the overall kind of shadows themselves helps with like that duality, right? The left side of the face is a lot more brighter than the right, and it's a little bit more dramatic when you have like that light setup. That's what you are going for. So there's no reason to kind of, I mean, you could, but that kind of kills the effect of the photo and where the light is coming from. So I want to enhance also the shadows on her face to give it kind of a more contoured look and make it more interesting. I in my opinion, like a flat portrait, yes, it can be clean, it can be cool, but I love like these moody, more rough light portraits. And again, for portraits, I love to soften the clarity because it just works better for people's skin. So I never in a million years, I think I stopped. I mean, when I first started out, maybe you would catch some photos of portraits like in the clarity range over here, but most of the time I'm in the -20, -25 range, and I think -20 is perfect for her kind of skin and her complexion and stuff like that. And then from dehaze, I don't think we need too much dehaze. This is like an extra form of like contrast and stuff like that. I do want to bring up, I love the color, so I'm bringing up the saturation. Not too much. I'll fix her skin tone a bit later, but maybe I'll drop it down just a little bit. I do love like the warmness of the overall photo itself, but her skin is just a little bit too yellow. Maybe I can tweak it with, no, it's not working a little bit. Sometimes you can tweak it with the temperature, but other times you will have to go into the color panel. I do like a little bit of a green tint. I'm gonna keep it like that. Yeah, this is cool. Because her face, and like skin tone is very warm, you see like a little bit more yellow. Contrasting that with like the greenish kind of bath tiles, and I don't even know if she's in a bathroom. It seems like the tiles is like a bathroom. She could be in a hallway, but she's smoking. Usually, if you're in an apartment building, bathroom, or I don't know why the first thing I thought about is the bathroom, but she might be in a hallway. But anyways, it's green, like it's very, it's marble, and it's giving the light of green. So green, orange, teal, orange, that kind of color scheme works well in films and photos and stuff like that. So having that green tint really brings this photo out, in my opinion. I think I leave the highlights a little bit lower. I don't want to blow them out too much. I want to bring out the lights. See, it's weird. Every time I kind of mute the highlights, I like to like bring out the lights just a little bit, not a lot. I don't know why. Sometimes, in my opinion, it looks good. Sometimes it just brings it back to square one. But in my head, it just looks good. So that's always what I do, or I've been doing. And now for the darks, yes, I want to bring down the darks a little bit. Maybe it's too extreme. I might, yeah, I like the darks lower than like the shadows, so I'm gonna bring the darks down, not too much, just there. And then here you can go into individual kind of colors, especially in the tone curve if you want, but I don't want to tweak with it because I like where it's sitting at right now. All right, color mixer. The one thing I want to adjust just a little bit is her complexion in her skin. I do want to bring it out just a little bit, so the luminosity between it all. Just bring it up a bit, but I believe the yellow is what's on her skin. No, the yellow is her hair. I want to bring it up just a little bit. Might be red. Sometimes you just have to play around because different skin complexions be picked up like differently when it comes to certain people or the certain photo or just the data in that photo. So sometimes it's just, you just gotta find it. Yeah, this purple is staying up. Where's this purple? Yeah, we're lowering you just a little bit, but we're also making you up. Sweet. So I think it is I think it is. Yeah, it's orange. It's definitely orange. I like it. Saturation up a bit. I love it. Love it. Sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up just a little bit. The red. I want to bring the saturation of the red up. Make it a little bit more orangey. This is just getting her lips, her hands. You see the shadows in her hands. It's pretty much red kind of tone, red kind of tint, that jazz. Other than that, then the green are the tiles. Bring the saturation up, yes. Lower it a bit. Oh, I love that. That's pretty fire. And this is like when you take like a real artistic direction with the photo, because this is just what I like that's working in the photo, but you can go in a whole different direction if you wanted to. And that is very key when it comes to editing photos. Yes, so the smoke in particular, if I wanted to emphasize the smoke, I would bring this photo into Photoshop once I'm done with it. And if we get through, however many we get through, I may just do, I could take it into Photoshop as well. But for the time being, I do that in Photoshop. If I wanted to add more smoke, if I wanted to enhance it. But here, if I wanted, the most I would do to enhance it is like mask it out and like bring up the light, lower it more, that kind of thing. But in Photoshop is where I would tweak it even more. If I want to duplicate it, if I want to add more smoke, that's where I would bring in like more kind of PNG files, different files of smoke, and try to mask it in, make it like bigger, make it flow a lot more through the photo. That is where I would do it in Photoshop. But for now, the most I would do to the smoke is like bring it out a little bit more when it comes to like highlights and the light. But yeah, that is for it. So for the colors, now for the color grading, for the midtones, I don't want too much because it affects a lot. I will bring the midtones out. I like that just a tiny bit. The shadows, on the other hand, a little bit more red. Just a tiny bit more red. Yeah, that works out. a tiny bit more red. And then the highlights themselves, I want these green. Yeah, like that. That's perfect in my opinion. I might just adjust it just a little bit. And make this just a little bit more green. And then so this one could be a little bit more red. Not too much. Too much was way too much. All right, perfect. Perfect. There we go. Sweet. I like that a lot. Then for details, for sharpening, I like to focus in on the face. If it was mainly, that's what needs to be more in focus. But yeah, for sharpening the face, keep it around like 40-ish. That's usually it. The rate, I like to increase the radius by a bit, and then the overall detail of it. This overall photo itself, I like the grain and the noise in it, so I'm not going to really denoise it. There's also, if you wanted to, you can add even more grain, which looks cool. But I like how it looks already. I might just add just like a tiny bit. It doesn't need too much vignetting. Yeah, I think that looks really, really cool. And the last thing I want to do, I want to, for the colors at least, I think, no, I like just a tiny bit and then increase the saturation. Yep, I like that. And then for the green, no. Again, very, very slightly. No. Way too much. Slightly, just to blend them in. Yeah, just to blend in a lot more. Sweet. So from where we started to now, it's the same color scheme. I know it's just exaggerated. Like, it's the same light that's focused on her, but pretty much exaggerated a bit. So, of course, for portraits, I would go in and do a bit more, which I might do right now, looking at it. But I would tweak it a little bit more, like polish up the skin, polish up everything. But for this like more like dramatic photo, I don't think it's that necessary. I think not a lot needs to be done. But yeah, hold up. No. Okay, we pause that. We have to pause that. That is no longer uncopyrighted music, and I don't want to go into the tab right now. So yeah. But with this in particular, all I want to do really bring out the highlights just a tad bit. Bring out the whites just a little bit. And any final kind of like tweaks I want to do to it. But other than that, I like how it is. I think with this style of photo, it doesn't need to be kind of polished. I know many people want it to be polished. Maybe you would like it to be polished and the overall skin for it. But it doesn't need a lot. Maybe because I have a preset that I would throw on it to kind of refine its skin. But in my personal opinion, how it is perfectly fine. And there's AI tools here that will, no, we're still keeping it. It's just going through like the presets. I'm trying to find where, yep, right here. Found it. I think these are, I don't remember like ever downloading these. I think these are Adobe newly added kind of AI enhanced things. So with it, what I would do is like you can do like a glamour portrait like effect on it. Takes a little bit, it's detecting, but this is mainly to polish kind of the skin, just really, or a polished portrait. Enhance the eyes and stuff like that. You see that? You see that difference? I don't know. I think I might have done it too quick. But watch the difference. Boom. So it works well. I think that if I was ever going to do something, I would just do that. I might like the way that looks, but without it, it looks like that, which is not bad either. Yeah, I'll do the polished portrait. I'll do the polished portrait because that's what I would do anyways when it comes to portraits. Just lighten the skin even more. And the only other thing I want to do, I want to enhance the eyes. Nah, that looks weird. Nah, we're not doing that. Yeah, that's all we would do to it. So from before to after, just really kind of enhance the overall look of it, take it a step further. We don't really need to alter it as much. It's still leaning towards the overall kind of way it was shot and the overall light and stuff like that. But yeah, that is where we ended up with this portrait. This is yours, IMG. I hope you like it. If you don't like it, take it somewhere else. I would love to see where you take it. But this is just the direction I would head down if this is my portrait. Sweet. So the next photo in the line. This is a lot of photos. A lot of photos. We might have to do part 2 to the same exact stream. We'll go up to this one. I think we'll go up to like. Should we do 7? Yeah, we'll go up to 7. We'll go up to 7 and then call it there for the stream. And after that, we will do a part 2 and stuff like that. But yeah, so for this one is a hard photo. In particular because there's a lot underexposed. There's also not a lot of subjects to focus in on. Maybe if I raise, we're gonna have to raise the exposure because it is very underexposed. But this is one of those photos where I would pick where I would focus in on. If I'm going to focus in on overall something when it comes to like working the color schemes, if it's going to be the light, if it's going to be a particular building, that is kind of how I would choose my direction on where I would go. To be honest, if I just focusing on light, there's not a lot. So you can't, if I know I'm going to be focusing on the light particularly, or only the light, I would go black and white. But because there's not a lot to really focus in on, I don't know if black and white works. You stumped me with this one. Alphin. Sorry if I didn't say that right. The golden hour looks great. You can go like more cinematic. I like this. It's just a little bit just too, what's the word? It's changing the colors of the building a little bit too much, in my opinion. See, this is one that like stumps me. It's like, that's why I go into my overall like presets and see what works and what doesn't work. It gives me ideas to go off of when it comes to just the way I want to take this photo. This is cool. Like a traditional black and white. I think for traditional black and white HDR photo is in the lead right now because there isn't much to only focus in on. So the HDR and the hard clarity helps bring more into the photo to make it more full. If you're not going to focus in on one specific thing or one specific direction, at least including all the detail also helps make the photo. That's the other way you can go down. And this is in the lead. I just want to try one more thing. It's down here that I'd like to do, or that I've done in the past. It's in the Peter McKinnon fall pack, the 2018 fall pack. Is it Ember? I think it is Ember, but why is it so dark? I like the way Ember works with kind of architecture. I do like it, and I do like that it desaturates. Excuse me. Yeah, no, I definitely will. I'll rank them after I'm done with it. But this one, for sure, looking at it just straight from jump, I don't know immediately which way I want to take it. So this one takes the lead for where difficulty wise. I do like this. I think it's up to this or straight black and white. I do like that there's some form of color peeking out with this one. And if I bring out the clarity, it will bring out a lot more, because lowering the clarity just softens things a little bit too much. Dehaze a bit. If I would say anything, I would say this is more my style anyways. So it's either between Ember this. Okay, so I rarely do this, but I'm creating a virtual copy. Like when I'm really, really stuck, that's when I do this. But so when I'm really, really stuck, I would create a virtual copy, right? And one of them I do one way, the other one I do the other way, and I really, really like look at both and see which way I like more. So at least one way it's completely, I want to say completely, I mean, it's just black and white. There's no other way to say it. But it kind of puts everything at the same pinnacle, and the focus in specifically is just the detail of the shot. And I think that is what is the highlight of your photo. Apart from it, just, I mean, the overall photo was a little bit underexposed. There's no real subject. It's just like how I interpret this photo is like the interworkings of the city when it comes to like a high rise, and being at a specific point where there's multiple cities overlapping each other. Your viewpoint is blocked. It's just the city, right? So this works out well. Is there enough interest, in my opinion, to go this direction? The one thing I do love when it comes to going down this direction is it highlights the different sets of materials when it comes to the architecture around there. Because you see some buildings are with white brick or different materials. You got this industrial building with just straight bricks. The higher rise and the beams, you know, is set different material. Is that enough to this photo to give off that same kind of vibe that we would go for when it comes to just plain HDR black and white? Yes, there is. And me looking at them back to back, I like this a lot better. At least highlighting the different materials really showcases almost the chaotic nature of wherever you're in, of the photo itself. So I think I'm going this direction, and I've decided, and that is what we are doing. So main form, let's work with the colors first. So because we are doing that, the saturation of every other color when it comes to blue and stuff like that is going to be turned down. Green, turned down. Saturation all the way down. The only colors we want to see is going to be red and orange, because that is the main materials that are being highlighted through this photo. I love this like little red light. I know this is to me, this is what's it called? Chromatic aberration. That is what you're getting from the overall lens you use. And you can maybe mute it, but I love it. It looks like halation in my opinion. Like, yes, it's not halation. And if you blow this up and you print it out, then you can really see it. But from afar, from a phone, it looks like halation. So I wouldn't really stress over it that much. I think it looks cool. I think it works in your favor. So for the orange, I want to bring it out. There's no need to let it be saturated, or to let it be low in saturation. I would bring it out. I would lower. Yeah. Lower this. Perfect. Perfect. Make it a little bit more on the red side, and then red. I think I would just bring it out just a tiny bit to just dilute that overall aberration just a bit. Where's the yellow? Oh, the yellow. Yep. Okay, I don't want too much. I will bring it up. And then lower it. Oof, I like that. I want to bring just a tiny bit of blue. Not a lot. It's still very muted, but you see in the windowsills over here, that is where you can see it the most. And of course, I'm only going to know that. But I like to keep it just a tiny bit realistic, because in the overall photo, I mean, not too much blue comes out, but enough. Enough blue comes out. And through it, yeah, I don't like purple. Yeah, I'm glad that it's all the way down. And sweet. Dope. I think that's cool. I might bring it down just a little bit more, because it's coming down into like the pavement a little bit too much. My fault, bro. I need to find a balance. This is why it takes me so long when it's like editing the video. Like if it's a full video that's posted, a regular video, it takes me forever to like find a balance when it comes to like photo editing jargon, or photo editing terms, to also simplify it and also make it like very, I don't know, I want to say not boring, and keep their attention and stuff like that. That's why I thought like a live stream would be a lot better, because I can just spiel and I don't have to cut, and yeah, it's just less of a headache. I can get all that goes through my head completely out when it's live like this. It doesn't have to be like perfect. It doesn't have to be like that. This is when I'm alone. This is what happens. I'm talking to myself, and yeah, I'm just going through emotions. This is a live look at how I go through when it comes to photos. Sweet. So, bet. Let's look at the colors. I don't like too much. Yeah, I want to keep it black and white still, majority. The midtones, I'll bring them out just a bit. But, and then the shadows, not that much, a little bit, because it kills some of the blues in, yeah. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I like that. I like that. Sorry, I forget I'm on the mic. I apologize. I apologize. Sweet. So, when it comes to sharpening, of course, that's when you also can sharpen a lot more, because it brings out the architecture a lot more. That's when I do like to sharpen. When it comes to architecture and things like that, effects, I don't know. I like that. It just gets rid of some of like the excess noise. So say if I bring this up, not that much, but you see in the corners and also just around it, it's not necessary details, and it helps you shift your focus to the buildings that are still saturated. So I want to bring that in just a bit. The overall roundness, up the feather. Vignetting is that. You see that circle? That's basically what vignetting and what we've been doing, or I do a lot to help shift like your focus. And for this one in particular, I like to do not too much. I like for the highlights. What's paint look like? Yeah, I think the highlights color and then highlight. It's the same thing, but not a lot, but enough to get rid of some of those kind of details in the foreground. Sweet. Yeah, no. That's all right. So calibration, once I know that, it doesn't need a lot. I think the only other thing I want to play around with is mask on the sky. See if there's anything we can do to that sky that can enhance this photo. Because sometimes the sky doesn't need to be, yeah, see, the sky doesn't need to be the one that needs to be desaturated. Sometimes if the photo desaturates your sky, that's what happens. I like to bring that out, lower it a bit, because you can tell by this, it might be later in the afternoon, the way the light peeks out through the buildings and stuff like that. So when it comes to the sky, I want to almost bring that out. Perfect. Not that much, because it doesn't look natural when it comes to the buildings around it. Just a tiny bit. I don't have that complex of an editing board or of a streaming deck at the moment to put up definitions just yet, but I'll try my best. I'll pull up the notes app as we go along. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I want to do to the sky. Seeing where we are now and where we were before, this is the direction I went down. It was a lot darker. It wasn't too dark, but we brought out key details throughout it just a bit, right? And we made the decision to, yes, most of it is desaturated. If you bring out the exposure into the main photo, you will see that a lot of colors that we chose to be desaturated are, and the main focus we went along with, was there enough distinction between all these buildings to keep them saturated and not go fully black and white? And I think there was. The only thing I would do, still just bring out the lights just a bit, still a little bit dark. Bring out the darks just a little bit more. And then bring the shadows down. Yep. And then maybe just bring up the saturation just a bit more. Not a lot. Like, honestly, like 3. That's good. I like that a lot. Sweet. So yeah, with this challenge, and I could have honestly gone one or two ways. We made this virtual copy, and I could have gone this way. But there was enough in the photo, in my opinion, to go down this route. Yes, there's no real subject, but because of the chaotic nature of it, that is why we made the decision for the colors to desaturate kind of the overall foreground and anything you see, and leave the color in of the buildings that give off that orange or any metal really shine through. I think though I would bring in the clarity up just a bit more, like the 15, and I'm happy where we just ended up with that. Yep, boom, boom. Paint it like my French girl. But yeah, that's where we ended up with. I think that one was the hardest one we've done so far. It stumped me because I didn't know exactly where I wanted to head down with it. So our second to last photo, MPA, if you weren't here, so we're gonna do 7, and then I'm gonna save the rest of them for another stream, maybe this weekend, to finish off. But I'll finish the rest of them in a different stream, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But this is number 6. We're gonna do up to 7, and yep, this is OJ, 0J. This might be just random numbers, but I don't know if y'all named it or not. I don't know. All I know is this might be OJ98A916. This is your photo, an incredible photo. I think one of my favorite photos I've ever taken, and I have to search through the files, which I'm not gonna do because y'all could see my whole computer. Of my work that I took is of a mountainscape that I really, really love. And because I've done that in one of my favorite photos, I know the exact preset that I like that works very well with these type of photos. So immediately, it's this Ember preset. Wow. It did not do what I thought it was going to do. I might be changing it. I mean, this is the starting point, and I can enhance it a lot more. But damn. Like, I don't like it. Well, I mean, I don't love it. No, I wouldn't say like it. But do I love it more than the rest of them? I might. Yeah, I don't like that. This is not bad. So you see how this controls the time of day? This could be this can be sunset, right? This can be, that's an extreme, but this can be like sunrise and blue hour. So that could change really the direction you can go, or dusk, dawn. You can bring this photo. This is cool. It's too much purple. That's an extreme. So I'm going to start it here and see if I can take it where I'm envisioning, where I like to take this certain preset. But I don't know. I might be doing this for no reason and might have to backtrack and keep it going. So I'm bringing out the biggest thing is like you see the light in the horizon, that light. And because the one thing that this preset does very, very well is it gets rid of any detail that's not necessary in the foreground, in the front of the shot. And when you're taking a photo that's a little bit hard to expose, and especially of a mountaintop, depending on what time of day you are, it's never going to be perfectly exposed. You're going to have to make a decision on if you want the sky to be if you want the sky to be exposed correctly or the detail around it. And so I always focus in on the sky mainly. Whatever else is caught and is in detail, I try to bring it out as much as I can. But you see, the biggest mountain is the most in detail and might be the most important, but everything around it, I'm cool with just keeping it in the foreground and not having to bring in a lot of detail with it. So knowing this, I'm going to bring down the blacks just to give it more of that edge. Bring up the white just a bit. The shadows don't need to be up that much. I do like the shadows a bit. I'm going to be playing around with different masks, of course, as we go further down. I need to bring up this contrast. Yep. I think the first thing I need to do is play around the colors for this one. Because what I want to bring out is that orange. Not that much. Not that much. Yeah. This is not natural. I want to bring in a more yellow. Yep. Just like that. Lower it a bit. And then the blues in this are going to be a lot darker. Bring the saturation up just a bit because this is a little bit unnatural. Perfect. The yellows. It's only like a bit. It's not a lot. You can see it in this area right here. That's where the yellows are all peeking out. But other than that, just bring it out a bit. It's like a highlight, in my opinion. Yeah, I like that. Don't worry, I will adjust everything. Sweet. That's a good starting point. I like that. I might even bring the blue just a tiny bit more down. Not too much. But right there. I like that. A lot. So already, it's a lot better than the initial start with this preset, of course. But what I want to do, it might be not natural to the overall photo, but let's see what it does when it detects the sky for a mask. Oh, that's not bad. I like that. I want to lower it just a tiny bit because it was a little overblown. Just to even it out just a bit more. And you'll see why in a second. I'm going to invert this now. Trust the process. Trust. Don't worry, I'll get us there. Don't worry. Raise the white just a little bit, not a lot. And then work with the highlights. Come on. lower this a bit. Where is this? I mixed up the two masks for a second. Whoops. Just want to bring it out just a tiny bit. Yep, just like that. For this one, this mask, I want to push the saturation. Whoa, that's way too much. I want to push the saturation to that much. No, 10. Definitely to 10. Don't like that. Yeah. Push the haze a bit down. Sweet. Love that. All right, sweet. So for the two masks, right? We did that in order to come back here and make just a little bit of adjustments to, they're a lot more even. So like now they're a lot more even. Whereas before, the top of that, like this top of the photo was a little bit more overexposed than like below the photo, below the mountain and stuff like that. So what I want to do now, because they're a little bit more even, now I can really bring out the light a lot more, the shadows a lot more. And the highlights might be overkill. Yeah, the highlights might be overkill. We can just keep them where they're at. I like that. Will little vignetting help? I like that. Not a lot, just a little bit. Love it. Sweet. Dope. Oh, that red. Just a little bit of that red just looks so good. Love it. I love it. Cotton candy type vibes. Not a lot. I don't like too much. Maybe like 25. Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's perfect. Yeah, no. Restart. I was just toying around with this, see what I like. All right, sweet. I want to bring out the mountain just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's going to work out a lot better. And this, what if I bring out the shadows? Perfect. That is what we were missing. That is exactly what we were missing. Nope, way too much. Maybe like a 1 or 2. Sweet. All right, let's see where we're at compared to where it was before. I'm pretty happy with that. To be honest, that is where I wanted to take it. I like it a lot. Brings out the, now looking at it and judging it, there's only small tweaks that would, you see what I mean by, there's a tree line here at the bottom. There's these other mountain and the overall landscapes underneath, but there's not a lot of detail in between them. So when that occurs, I just kind of like to completely lose it in the shadow. In my opinion, it helps focus on less things. And when it comes to landscapes, I like to focus on main things. If you're going to focus on here, focus on the overall lights, the overall the clouds, or even the mountain, whatever that is. And because of this, because I'm saying this, I want to do a couple more tweaks to it when it comes to the overall like look, which might be not the exposure. Might be just a little bit more on the highlights. Just bring them out just a tiny bit more. It's okay if they're blown out a bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with blowing out the highlights a bit, in my opinion. But yeah, small tweaks. But I think that is where we want to be. Color grading, didn't really need to do much. Color mixes, I think just the blues. Yeah, see, this is too dark, in my opinion. I mean, I could go for a darker one, but I like it here. I might bring this just a little bit lower. Sweet. So, yeah. So, that's where this photo ended up being. Oh, no, but that's natural. That's pretty natural. I think the only other thing I would love if this photo was, it just had a little bit more detail in the mountain. But I still think it's a really good photo. Sweet. So, before and after, this is what we started with. This is the direction we headed down. And you can interpret it one of two ways. That the starting point does look more blue hour to me. Mine ended up more, I want to say, like sunset and that type of vibe. But that is kind of where I like to take this photo. I like to highlight really that light coming from the foreground, not foreground, from the background and from the sky. And yeah, sweet. All right. For our last and final photo for this stream, there will be a part 2, right, to these photos. So 8 through, it's 17, but it's 18 because I created a duplicate copy. 8 through that will be featured on another stream. Be on the lookout for that. It's going to be this weekend. It might be this weekend, judging how when it is. If not, then it'll definitely be next week. But yeah, for our final photo, we are doing this. And again, I guess we just did all the photos with no names. I want to guess where this is. Bosnia's Gosling. This gotta be Arab. This is an Arab. This definitely is Arabic. I don't know where this is. Is this Egypt? License plate. I'm not a geoguesser, so I don't know where this is. But this is the final photo we are working with. And this is another photo that I want to bring into Photoshop, and I will do that in next stream once I'm finished with it. This photo, 3 and 2 so far, will be thrown into Photoshop afterwards, and that will be in the next stream. But, so, for this photo, I know what I want to do with it effect-wise. I'm not sure what I want to do with it to make it even more interesting. It seems pretty like, yes, the light is leaking a bit, but it seems pretty well exposed already. I think, no, we're not doing that. We're getting away from over here. No, I love the colors too much to decide. That's ugly as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Now we're I love the colors too much to desaturate it too that much. Um, hmm. You see, damn. Black and white works as well, right? But without it, nah, there's too many good colors in this photo to just put it to black and white. I don't think black and white does it justice. I think a warmer tone for sure is the route I want to head down for this photo. Let me see. Cooler tone looks cool, but I think the warmer tone is what I like. No. Not that warm though. I don't know. Another one I'm kind of stumped on. I'm not gonna lie. Huh. I just don't know. I think I'm going to just go. There's one more final presets from Mango Street that I like, but it just overly kind of washes the photo a bit, in my opinion. Unless there's one that doesn't do that. Yeah, I don't really like my photos to be that muted. Or this muted, I should say. I like to keep a lot of color in my photo. And I would assume you would like to keep color in your photo as well. If there's no name. Huh. So I like this color scheme. Not enough though. I think I might just do this. No, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do. Yes, it's a little dark. I like this. It's a little dark, but I'll fix that real quick. I do like just it to be a little bit warmer for sure. There is too much grain in my opinion. I think this preset just comes with a set grain that I just don't like that much. And sweet. So I think this is a good starting point for this photo. I do want it to be a tiny bit more, just a greener tint. Does it need to be warmer? Nah, kill the warmness just a tad bit. So if you want it to go straight cool. Because if you go too warm, no, we're not representing. We're not just putting a Mexico tint on this photo. All right, cool. I like that. I like where that's at. Sweet. want to do that. I do need to straighten this photo. I feel like I mean, it might not be level. It might not be leveled, but it might. Did I do anything? Did I ruin it? I like that. Vertical works very well. Sweet. So color-wise for this photo, not a lot. The only thing I want to change, it's kind of bothering me, is like the overall light coming from the sky. Maybe just lower the highlights a bit. Yeah. Not a lot, but just enough. I'm going to raise this temp. Let me hit the subjects with the mask. Okay, you only caught those two subjects. See, this is what I mean. Like, it's not perfect, but that does something. Enough. All right. Let me just duplicate and invert. Just so I have like separate things to work with. I think, yeah, raise the shadows. I like that. Other than that, the majority of the work I want to do on this photo is going to be in Photoshop, because the color scheme in general, all I did was really play around with the temperatures and like just a basic color. I don't want to do too much. Because look, if you do too much, in my opinion, it kills the photo. I think where it's at, it's enough. Sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think I want to do even more to it when it comes to just color. I like that. I think cooling it down just a little bit works well. Like here. Yeah, that works. That works. I like that. Nope, nope, nope. Sweet. I like that. And then for the final thing, for the highlights, nah, I don't like that. Yeah, be a little bit more. Perfect. All right, sweet. Not a lot to it. I think other than that, go back to our start, our reference photo. What happened? What the fuck? I got it. So, other than that, I don't think there's much to do. I'm going to start with this photo next in Photoshop in the next stream. And I think once you see what I do with it effect-wise, I think then it will really, that will be like the star of the show for this photo. But because there's so much going on, for color-wise, that's all I want to do. Bring out the vibrance a little bit more. Yep. Sweet. Let me just adjust the colors just one last time. Just lowering these a bit. Is it orange? Yes, it is orange. All right. Yep. Sweet. Dope. That is the before. That is the after to this photo. Not much. Again, this was another one that I didn't really tweak too much. This one is one of those photos that I think is already very interesting. You don't need to tweak it way too much and do too much to it, even though I'm going to when I bring it to Photoshop. I'm going to do a bit to it with different effects, like panning effects, some ghosting and stuff like that. That will be in the second stream. But for this stream, we have completed these first 7 photos. We did this photo. We can look at before and after of the Mercedes, the vintage Mercedes, where we took it to where it was before. This was it. This was our direction. We did these bird ones. This was another minimalist kind of edit, but this one too I want to tweak with in Photoshop. 3, this lovely portrait of a woman smoking a cigarette. Minimal, not too much, but just really lean into kind of the overall color scheme and like more dynamic kind of lighting selection and stuff like that. But yeah, our first real challenging one was this one. And with this one, we ended up going with this look. It was in between the black and white or desaturate and keep the color of the different buildings and different kind of high rises and stuff like that. I really enjoy where we took this photo. It was the most challenging, in my opinion, out of the set so far. Then of this mountainscape, the before and after and all that look. And through that, I just looked at the chat. Y'all distracted me. I lost my train of thought. We got some heavy hitters in the chat, man. If I had a soundboard, I would give you all a soundboard. But we were just wrapping it up. We're going through it. And for our final one for this session, we went for this photo. We didn't do too much. This is another photo from the set with the portrait and the birds that I'm going to take in Photoshop in the next stream. And really tweak it to finalize this photo. But for the overall colors, this one was very minimalistic. I didn't want to do too much. I didn't want to alter it too much. Just wanted to bring out the colors a little bit more and maybe the time of season, the climate in this particular place. And yeah, the rest of the photos then are going to be finalized in the second stream. I will post that give y'all a heads up when that's going to be. Right? Nah, I was. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I was gonna do a soundboard. Everyone, to close out the stream, please repeat after me. I want everyone out of your seats and to sing my favorite song by Eminem, which is "I'm Not Afraid." After me. I'm not doing that. All right, y'all. So that's the stream. That's the introduction to these little editing streams. They're only going to keep getting better. If you missed it, they're going to be full videos on my channel. So give it a check. And all these photos weren't named. The only one that was named was the most challenging photo, and that was Alphon. It's in between that. And then all these other ones didn't have a name. I think all the named ones are going to be in the second stream. So even if you weren't here, then your other ones, we're going to do the majority of ones that are named in the second stream. So dope. So yeah, that's the stream. I don't know how to close this. I'm going to figure it out. White screen. I think it's in my Safari. All right. I'll catch y'all later. Deuce. End, please.